السلام عليكم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربي إني مسني الضر وأنت أرحم الراحمين. لا إله إلا أنت سبحانك إني كنت من الظالمين. حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل، نعم المولى ونعم النصير. غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه أجمعين، والحمد لله رب العالمين. We have started a new subject, worship, and most of the time, in practical terms, we understand the worship as prayer. So usually, prayer, of course, is not only ritualistic prayer. When we are in need of anything, if we recognize that we have to present our need to our Creator, we turn to Him and tell Him we need this. Present our need to Him. And the author says this action is worship. When we present our need to Him, usually it is human weakness that we expect our need to be fulfilled in return, because we are asking our Creator, who is the omnipotent one, almighty one, so He can fulfill it. And people, most of the time, we people take it literally and say, okay, since you are God, you are the one who created the universe and shaped everything and decided about everything. Come on, I'm asking you to fulfill my need. I'm presenting my need to you. It's quite normal that we expect Almighty God to respond back to us. That is the common practice. The author says this is a misunderstanding. This is a misunderstanding of worship. We are here in this world to follow His order by obeying the rules of His order. By obeying the rules of His order. Not asking Him to change the order for me. Then I feel cold. I ask, please God created sun for me. You feel hot at the same time. Please God create cool for me. So everybody wants the order to fit to his own desire, without realizing that we are all subject to follow the order, not to ask the order to change it for us. And the author argues why it must be so in this way. God is almighty. He can change everything and accord everything to the expectations of the individuals. It goes against the nature of this type of creation. It is possible. It is possible that the Creator creates a world, as far as the Almighty God is concerned, which fits to the expectations of everybody. But this work, this creation, never promises anything to this creation. This creation is the creation of preparation. Okay, both. Get closer to the brownie. But
this creation is the creation of preparation.
Preparation for us to acknowledge our source of existence, where we came from. So every action we do in this world, either in acknowledgement of the source of existence, or negligence, or denial. And there are three options mainly: confirmation, negligence, we can ignore, or deny. We are free. Now, of course, worship falls into what? Acknowledgement. That is very simple. But still, we want to.
Rejection, acknowledgement, or negligence.
So one is acknowledgement, number two is negligence, number three is denial. So it's either.
Yeah, that's. We can categorize into very rough three categories.
So worship falls into acknowledgement.
Yeah, worship falls into acknowledgement. That's our subject today. Of course, we are not going to discuss about why we should worship God, who is God. These are not the subject of this topic. The author says, let's understand the reason of this type of creation and the reason behind why the Creator asks us or gives us the task to practice this acknowledgement and asks us to pray, turn to Him, communicate with Him when we need anything from Him. When we acknowledge that, for example, I need something, and this need can be accomplished, satisfied by Him. you think we may need more chairs? So,
I can get a few.
if we, that's fine. But yes, I acknowledge that when I am in needy of something, I present my acknowledgement to my Creator, saying, I need you because you are the one who can do it. We have to practice this. It is against our very practical reasoning that I will ask my need to be accomplished, but I won't expect it to be accomplished. Why? It is against human reasoning. Why? Did you get it? For example, I need your help. I acknowledge that. I come to you and I present my need, but at the same time, I don't expect you to accomplish my need. And I will say, why should I do that? Do you follow? Am I clear to you? Do you follow? So why should I do that? Why do you think we are thinking in this way? Although it is not wrong, but in relation to our Creator, it is wrong.
So you're saying when you ask something, you have this expectation that this will be fulfilled?
Not necessarily. You acknowledge that He can fulfill it.
Right, okay, that's,
Yeah. And you turn back to Him, but don't expect Him to fulfill it.
oh, that's, yeah. It's
That is real. And why should we do it? First, we have to acknowledge, we have to realize that in our relationship between objects and objects, or human beings and human beings, or human beings and objects, this kind of horizontal relationship, it is valid. That, for example, you are sure that I have money, but I'm not going to give it to you. Would you come and ask me to give money? No. Yeah, that is you and me relationship. Because it is not a matter of acknowledgement. It is a matter of mutual interest relationship. In horizontal relationship, we are always used to establishing our relationship in mutual interests. For example, you go and work for a company and to pay. It's very important. If they let you know, we need you, but we are not going to pay. How many people will be working? Yeah, that is normal, that is human, that is normal in our horizontal relationship. It means created relationship.
object to object.
Yeah. Now, when it comes to our relationship to the Creator, it is not the same. Because we are the created beings who have been created to acknowledge the source of existence of everything. Now, our relationship with the Creator is not the same as my relationship with my company. My relationship with my Creator is of the kind of acknowledgement, training, whether I acknowledge it or not, I submit it or not. Because I am here to, if you like, to return my human feelings, human qualities, back to its origin and introduce it to its origin. With the language of the scripture, revelation, introducing my spirit to its source. It is just for the sake of acknowledgement. That is difficult. That goes against our daily life routine. Most people don't make the distinction between these two different kinds of relationship. So they turn their relationship with the Creator in the form of the relationship between you and me, or me and my company. For example, even the state, most of the people feel obliged to pay the tax, but they pay it and they find it somehow reasonable to pay the tax because they believe and they expect that the state will turn it back to him ultimately by preparing the service for them. They justify it because they take this money, okay, they take $100, they return 50, is okay, still, because I get something in return at least. They justify it. And they apply the same mentality to their relationship with their Creator. And when they are ill like me now, I don't really feel very comfortable. You may notice that I have some problems. So I acknowledge that who has given me the health, who can give me the health? The Creator can do everything. He's the Almighty One. So I go back to Him and ask Him, yeah, please give me health. That is very human. That's very correct. It is very human. So I said, please give me health. And unfortunately, I forgot the nature of my relationship with my Creator. I fall into my practical relationship with other people, other creatures, and expect Him to return my health. And if I notice that it is not returned, it means my health is not there, I'm still ill, I get disappointed. And I say, like as if I'm working for the company, I work for it, and it was our contract that they will pay me at the end of the month. There is no payment. What do? You get surprised. You get cross. And you say, no, I'm not going to work for you anymore. Right? So what the people do, take this relationship and apply it to their relationship with God. They say, either you are not real or you are not responding my prayer, so I'm not going to pray to you anymore. So people complain usually, the believers complain, those people who say that they believe in God Almighty. Usually I pray, but God didn't respond. God didn't, no, it is the American expression or English expression, God didn't hear my prayer. Is it really true? It is the mistake of the person who prays. So author says, although you are used to in this way, and in reality, you shouldn't connect your needs to its creator with this understanding, but you have to take into other points consideration as well. Other points into consideration as well. First, when you present your worshipful attitude, it means your prayers to God, bear in mind that you have no right to expect anything to be paid back to you as a result of your prayer. You have no right because you have already been given. You have already been given payment in advance. One of them is your existence. Your existence. You have already been given existence. That was the subject of last week. Did you want to say something? Sorry? Did you want to say something?
No, I think she did.
Ah, you did. I'm sorry, somebody from there. Yeah.
Okay, so we have no right to expect something to be paid back because we've already been given payment in advance through being given existence. As far as our relationship as created to creator. So
In this type of creation.
In reality though, shouldn't this worldview also apply in the horizontal relationship of created to created, if we acknowledge that even in a horizontal relationship with other created beings, the only purpose of that is to connect vertically anyway. So then should we also apply this methodology to created beings if living consciously?
So I can see the confusion in your reasoning. Now, what are you doing while you are establishing a relationship between a created being and another created being? You said we should be doing it
Consciously.
in connection with God, with the God consciousness. Anyways, the horizontal relationship is jump to the vertical relationship. Now, as far as you are concerned, your consciousness of your action, the nature of your action is concerned, binds you. You say, this guy is ill, needs help, and I am created by the same one who created him. And my senses of helping others also are created by my creator. This guy is created by him, so why not I should use my senses just in acknowledgement of the source of the senses and help this guy without expecting anything in return. That is your relationship. Now, how about your relationship with you and this guy? If it is mutual consent relationship. It means you come and repair my, now they are repairing the electrical system here. So repair my electrical system and don't expect anything in return. Do it for the sake of God. You say, why should I do it for the sake of? Because doing this job for the sake of God is my concern. Now, not your concern. Not the other person's concern. The other person is asking you to help him. And you say, I can do that. If this person, but there is one if there. If the person says, look, I cannot pay you anything, I have nothing. Do it for the sake of God. Means practice it as you believe that your sense of help is from your Creator. Practice it. I cannot give it in return to you. This is not, then you may not expect anything in payment. But if you notice, there is a difference here. You cannot live in this world in your relationship with the rest of the world as if you are having your relationship with God. That is, your relationship with God is your relationship with God. How about in social contract? Everybody has to keep his promise in the contract. Get it? No. Everybody has to keep his promise as they promise in the contract. Otherwise, social construction of the work doesn't work. Everybody, let's say, everybody will do it for the sake of God. No one will expect anything in return from anybody. What happens? No one does any job. Only a few sincere people work. The rest.
So I'm going to try to summarize or restate the response. So in a mutual relationship, which is horizontal, I have a need. I need an electrician. He happens to be an electrician. I have some sort of need and I expect, or I call somebody for assistance. Are we saying that every individual in the horizontal relationship has a contract to recognize that they have a need and are therefore following the order to try to get that need accomplished through the order? Okay. But as far as I'm concerned, even though I'm following the order in the horizontal relationship, I should be acknowledging that I have a need and therefore I am pursuing the order to get that need done. So for example, if I'm the electrician and I'm called for help, I am acknowledging the fact that I have a need to respond. This need is created within me. I am going to follow that order within me and respond back to that need. And if that and the other person on that relationship can pay or not pay, it really shouldn't change the way I respond as far as my individual contract with my creator is concerned.
The shares.
Is that?
So it seems like there are two kinds of contract. Your contract with the created being and then your individual contract with the creator. So as far as your contract with the beings are concerned, the person doesn't want to pay you for your service. I think that's unrelated to your contract with the source of your existence. that where we were getting at?
So what you are depicting, which looks like very attractive, very attractive, excellent. Everybody will work as much as you can because they will feel if they are a believer, like in Christianity, they will feel that this is for the sake of God. If they are not a believer, if they are not believers, like Marxist people, they will do it for the sake of social benefit, social construct. Are they practical? Do they really apply to the reality of this world? Both of them. Have you seen any Christians coming and not expecting anything and doing for the sake of God? Even you hit one cheek, they turn the other cheek. Practically, is it possible? They say justice is needed. Justice on earth is needed. Yeah. If you transgress somebody's right, this person must defend himself and expect the justice to be applied. So we know that practically the other atheistic approach, which seems to be the same thing. Everybody will do as much as they can without expecting anything. Never works because of the conditions of this world. In this world, the horizontal relationship is based on mutual respect, mutual justice, etc. This is the nature of this creation. If you think it is an ideal, yes, it is an ideal case, and this ideal case is applicable only to Almighty God. Only the Creator does the job and expects nothing in return. Do you get it? So you are not alone in this way of thinking. Many people turned the teachings of Jesus into this this analysis that you are making, saying that we should claim nothing at all from anybody. No, it looks like ideal. Does the society work in this way? How about those lazy people that have free will? They will say, okay, I'm not going to do anything because somebody will take care of me anyways. What will happen? You will be encouraging people to be lazy, not to take up their responsibilities. So it is against human nature because human nature has two options always. One, do your duty. Option, be a parasite. Parasite. Sorry?
Parasite.
Parasite. It means live on other people. We have this option. We cannot pretend as if everybody is angel. Impossible. So
even the prophets worked.
Sorry?
Even the prophets had jobs, right? Like Jesus was a carpenter, or
shepherds. Mostly shepherds.
or live it.
Yeah.
They also have to live it.
Sorry?
So then what Frida was saying is true, according to this conversation, that there's always two contracts.
Yeah.
One, my personal acknowledgement of what's happening according to my needs with the creator of my needs. And then there's a separate and different contract with other created beings, which is because we live in this type of existence, in this worldly life, I will also necessarily be in a separate contract with other created beings, which is different than my relationship with my creator.
You can expect your creator to do everything for you, not expecting anything in return. But you don't expect me to do the same thing as a created being. Because I am subject to cause and effect relationship. God is not something, the creator of this order is not subject to cause and effect relationship. He is the establisher of the cause and effect relationship. Don't confuse. We shouldn't confuse. It doesn't work. Is there any Christian society, let's say, Muslims came, example, since it is the Christian society, invaded the Christian land. And they said, okay, we should just turn the other cheek and say that, would you like to get some more land from there? Have you ever seen anything in our reality? Huh? But this is your theory. That's your theology. If someone hits you from one cheek, turn your other cheek. It means if someone comes and invades your house and say, okay, would you like to the second floor as well? Does it work? Why? For the sake of God. What do? You encourage the invaders. And it is the negligence of the human nature that we have two options. Only the creator has one option. Do you get it? So don't confuse that your relationship with the created beings as if you are having a relationship with creator. It doesn't work. So we are here in the creative world.
And then practically, this is how we can make sense of how we always talk about how scripture is, the majority of the percentage of scripture is to teach us about our personal relationship with our creator. But there's another portion of scripture which is dedicated to the rights of other people and practical relationship and that mutual horizontal existence that we're bound to. So other people's rights, how to take care of other people's rights and your rights, etc. So is this part of scripture then related to what we're saying, that there's a certain portion of scripture that's dedicated to the rights of other people and how to pursue those mutual relationships, separate from my separate experience with my creator?
I should keep my consciousness with my creator that I have to act in his name and expecting nothing in return from him. But at the same time, I have to expect my other creature peer, to promise, to keep his promise. That is we have to make the distinction. That is the difference. Do you get it? That is why there are schools of thought in the Muslim world as well. Some schools of thought under the influence of obedience, which is propagated by sultans, kings, obey. Yeah, this is called Sunni tradition. What they do, they usually emphasize on God creates and accepts whatever He creates. This tendency is heavy. They don't look for justice. They ignore the justice side of it. Right? Of course, the other human beings are aware of this weak point. What they do, they emphasize on the justice side so much that make the justice as an integral part of the belief system, because they know that this is the weak point. Belief system that established everything on justice base, which is not wrong, which is correct, but of course, taking it to the extreme case that in every event we have to see the justice, even in our relationship with God as well, and we have to impose it. So it opens up, these are very fine theological discussions. It opens up the influence of human action in creation. You see that? It means human beings are the creators of their actions. They have to do it. Because it is within justice. They think that. It goes into another extreme. So we have to keep the balance. Yes, justice is inevitable, but not to the extent that I, as a human being, can fulfill the justice God does. I only ask. I'm not the creator of my actions. But if some people have studied the importance of these theological discussions, we find out that it is within our practical daily life. Although we may describe ourselves as that I'm not a Shia, I'm Sunni. I'm not a Sunni, but I am Shia. This kind of, but we are everywhere. In practical terms, someone may say, I'm Sunni, but in his daily life, you find that he's practicing lots of Shia theology. Somebody may say, I am Shia, but finds out that he's practicing in his life a lot of elements of Sunnism. Mixed. So we shouldn't really look at the people's etiquettes. Look at our actions first, as far as this subject is concerned. Are you looking for justice in your relationship with other people? You are right. You have to look for justice. You shouldn't ignore the reality. You shouldn't ignore the reality. You shouldn't say, whatever God creates, okay, it is okay. It is fine. So we have to accept it. Not to the extent that somebody came and asked you to work. You worked for him and he didn't pay. You say, okay, that is what God created. I am happy with it. No. You have to pursue your right and get your payment back. So this is the weak point in Sunni tradition. Do you get it? Yeah. So they say, Sultan comes and assumes the throne and says, I am your ruler. Okay, that is what God appointed for me. What shall we do? Let's accept. Yeah? This is the tendency. On the other hand, the other extreme side.
The Shiite side.
No, Now, this is represented in shared theology.
Okay.
On the other side, they say, no, this is not right. This man has assumed, for example, came into your house, invaded your house, and said, okay, you go in the roof, under the roof. Okay, this is the place I am here. And you say, okay, since it happened, that is Allah stuck there, let's accept it. And don't say anything. They say, no, you have to defend your house. So, take this idea now. Yes, you have to defend your life, your house. How? Yourself, fight against it until you get the house back. But in reality, yes, you have to defend your house. How? By using the authority of the Sharia. Not that you will fulfill. Authority will fulfill it. It means legally, the judge will take care of it, and the administrative authority, the legitimate administrative authority, will take care of it. Not you, every individual will do it. This extreme idea goes into, you can do it, you must do it, because you are the creator of your action. This is the famous Mu'tazila attitude.
Who's the creator of the action? Like you're saying, you're asking the authority, you can do it because you're the creator of the action.
So not God's authority must prevail. Your authority must prevail. Because you are the source of your action. Okay. You get this slight difference, but at the beginning, it is a slight difference, but it turns out to be a huge conflict at the end.
So I understand now, that's why you're saying there has to be a balance, because, yeah.
Now, this is understandable, and the people may benefit from it if only they know something about this theological basis. If you don't know really, you don't understand easily, because it has many implications here. I just summarized it very roughly.
So the fine line that makes it, or that can make it complicated, is if we use the language that we're going to expect something from somebody in this horizontal relationship that we are bound to and subject to. If I'm going to expect X to treat me back in a particular way, according to mutual rights, mutual contracts, then I might fall into this idea of expecting this individual to be able to create for me whatever qualities it is, whatever it is that I want: justice, authority, love, care, whatever. So can we acknowledge this as a conclusion that in our mutual relationships with whatever, it's really just following the order? So, for example, when I am expecting the tree to provide for me an apple, I'm not really expecting the tree to create an apple. I am expecting through following the order, because I'm bound to this creation, through following the order, I have an expectation that my need will be met. But that also takes the person or the object out of the equation in a way, so that my expectations aren't wrongly skewed into the creation itself. So if I do a job for somebody and I expect to be paid, I'm just expecting the order to, I guess the word is just basically putting the word order instead of the person, because it's not that I'm expecting from the person to pay me. I'm expecting the order to fall in my favor. The way I expect the apple tree to give me an apple, it's not that I'm expecting it from the tree. It's not that I'm expecting the person to fulfill my rights.
So think about it in terms of yourself. It is easier to understand. Which I understand in your argument that you are trying to understand. You are saying the order will provide, or the orderer. I found it difficult to say. So the orderer is going to provide. Somebody has stolen your property. Now, some injustice is going on there, correct? How are you going to establish the justice? Somebody has stolen your property. How are you going to establish justice? Answer.
So then I would, one, acknowledge that I'm upset that someone stole my property. This being upset was given to me. It was created.
Practically speaking.
So practically speaking then, okay, so practically speaking, I would have to follow the order of how to respond back, which is make a police report.
Now, in Islamic terminology, are you going to catch the thief and get the property back and punish him? Or are you going to ask God's authority to fulfill this justice? Which one?
God's authority.
Which is?
Which is the legitimate administration.
So basically we're saying through my pursuit of the order, I am actually seeking God's authority.
Ah, no, it's not that simple. Are you going to do it yourself? Catch the thief?
I'm not doing that.
Who's going to do it?
Yes, why not?
Are you going to leave this man go ahead with his own way? Which one?
I think, so I'm not gonna go try to find the individual person. I mean,
Even if you found out that it is me who has stolen your property, what are you going to do?
I would make a police report
Sorry?
and just
No,
hope.
just a minute. You are using American mentality. There is
Oh,
a police report or something. We are talking about Islamic system itself. What does Islam say? Islam, within Islamic administration. We are speaking totally in theoretical terms. It's very heavy. That was an interesting comment. I didn't respond, but it is in my mind. So it is a very, very dangerous. It is a very dangerous attitude. Be careful. Now you will understand why. So I'm going to catch the thief and implement the justice by myself. What happens?
She didn't say that.
Oh, not by
And he
myself.
said, why not?
She said, why not catch him if you
Yeah.
can?
No,
Yes, I mean,
no,
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 yes,
no,
I didn't.
don't worry, don't worry.
She didn't say that she's going to bring
No,
justice.
no, but I'm extending. It is the extension of it. It is the extension of it. No, I'm not accusing you, but we have to be very careful. You can catch the thief. What you can do at the most, take him to the court, judge, qadi. Because only in the legitimate case, only the qadi can act in God's name. You act in your name. That is the theological difference. If you act in your name, then everybody will be implementing justice in the world, and the result is chaos, saying that I am right, you say I am right, you say I am right. But let the God's power prevail. How? That is why I have no right to punish the thief, but I have no right either to let the thief go in his way. I have to ask God's justice to establish on us, to prevail on us. Do you see the difference? So we have to look for every means to ask, by following God's order, to establish the justice, but not according to our own personal initiations and according to our personal choices, not according to our personal choices. Now, one thing, don't make it an argument, because they catch the thief, they caught the thief. Okay, what shall I do? Nothing. Take him to court. Nothing more. I cannot punish him. I cannot pass any judgment about him, but take him to court. So God's justice must prevail through representative of his power on earth and independent just, because you are the part. You cannot really fulfill it. Now, don't take it personally, because I'm taking it extension. By extension, we have to be very careful. Even you catch it, you will catch it, you will try to catch him, but take him to court. Yes? Take him to court. Don't try to establish the justice yourself individually, according to your choice. So, but you cannot give up justice either. Ask God to establish it. That was the main argument, or main dispute in the Muslim community among the companions. Who is going to establish the justice? That is the matter of justice. That was the first dispute, disagreement among the companions soon after the Prophet Muhammad والسلام, passed away. Soon after, if 1 year or something, 1 or 2 years.
So it's considered to be a big crime if somebody steals like property, and then if you happen to catch the person and the person is willingly open to giving it to you, then
No,
do you have
that the hypothetical things?
Okay.
No, we have to establish the model of thinking. Now, God's power must prevail on us, not individuals' power, in any case. But at the same time, you cannot ignore God's power to prevail, say that there is no need, forget about it.
Okay, so I just would like to clarify. When I was saying why not, what I was trying to say is, isn't this the first continuation of the second? Like you can't, why do you need to make a distinction? Yes, and then you said and you elaborated that this is part of the justice. You're seeking justice. Okay, so I just wanted to verify. Am I clear what I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is, okay, so this is a bigger example of seeking justice like a thief or whatever. That's easy for you to have the understanding that there is a larger justice system that you sort of,
True.
there's a bigger, judicial system that you could send this person to, and the justice is going to be served. But what about the daily interactions with people, or the more minute decisions that you make? How do you make sense of that?
So always refer to God's justice, not to yourself.
What does that mean? Can you explain more?
Be aware that every justice must be performed according to the God's power, not your power. You are just only the one who asks God, please God, prevail your justice. This consciousness is necessary in the practical matters. In your relationship with your children, with your parents, with your relatives. But when it comes to social contracts with other people, a matter of justice, then you cannot ignore it. Even you can say, I forgave the theft. Can judge forgive the thief? According to Islamic Sharia?
No.
No. The answer is no. You may forgive, you may sacrifice your right, that you have stolen my property, I forgive you. But judge says no. It is a it is a breach of social contract. I cannot let the society, the life of the society, to be in confusion, saying that the thieves are encouraged. Right? We have to understand this. These are the small points that we have to be aware. Not only practicing belief is not that simple, saying that, okay, I believe in God and I pray 5 times a day, and the rest of your life is full of confusion of everything without realizing. That's why what belief requires, we have to be aware of it. It's not that simple.
Maybe I just missed it. What do you mean? It's unclear to me when you say, "Let God's authority prevail." It can't happen at the court.
Sorry?
It cannot happen at the court. You said.
Yeah, it is.
So what is?
It means take it to court, because Qadi is expected to act in the name of God, only to practice God's authority. That is by definition. Just. Yeah. Not the just that American just. Of course, we are talking in terms of Islamic concepts, Islamic society, real Islamic society.
So, I mean, with what you're saying,
We are talking about theory.
not practically in America.
Not anywhere.
Okay, not anywhere, right?
Nowhere on screen.
There is no such thing. Everybody is secular. No one really practices God's authority.
Well, then what would I do then?
Sorry?
What should I do then? Other than,
That is another side of it. We are talking about theory. We are not talking about practice.
Take the person to court, in other words.
No. Depends on your understanding of the society, depends on your understanding of yourself, your perception of creation, your relationship with God through the creation, your consciousness of it. There are thousands of different elements must be taken into account in order to understand what you are doing in such a society, practically. But at least we have to be aware of the theory, at least, which we don't. So there is no, without the foundation, how can you talk about Islam? That's why the world is a mess now. People don't have the theory, don't know what they are doing, why they are doing, don't know, and then deciding according to their own egoistic expectations, and then coming into a very complicated practical terms. In this society, what shall I do? Why? What was the reason? What is the theoretical base for it? It needs great study.
So just to quickly clarify, if somebody steals something and you take them to court and they're found guilty, according at the
Theoretically, yeah.
justice still is not completely, it's not complete?
On earth, yes, it is. Why not? Because by definition, judge established God's will on earth and applied it. That's it. Theoretically.
Yes.
Still, there may be some cases that your property has been stolen and judge in this world could not find the thief. Has justice been established? No, it is not complete. That is why we expect that justice must be complete. Since it is not complete in this world, there must be a place that justice will fully be completed. That's why we expect that it must be complete. This is one other reason why the resurrection must take place. Because justice needs to be completed, but not always. Did you want?
No, I just feel like we're overcomplicating things. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like originally the point was that we need to understand the nature of our relationship with our Creator, which is not necessarily that you're going to ask for something and expect the return that you expect. There may be a return of a different form, which is still valid, and it's what we want to get out of such expectations, like the expectation of justice. I may not get it, but still, it is a good vehicle for me to use to understand why am I actually expecting justice. Like if this world was random, if it was meaningless, then justice has no meaning. And it's an opportunity for me to understand that this feeling was given to me, and there must be a reason why it was given to me. And to use that to get closer to my Creator in a way and understanding how He created me. That I thought was the original point.
Yeah.
It just feels like we went very far away.
But if the question is there, we cannot ignore it. But as you said, we deviated from our main point. But these are the fine points that we have to be aware as well. That I took the opportunity that, we have to talk about these kind of things because people don't know that there are such things, matters. And the implication of this, we just say Christianity is like this, Marxism is like this, and they are wrong, we are right, and why? And especially simplification of the division between Sunni and Shia, saying that this is the nature of politics, forget about it. But the companions didn't forget about it. Yeah, they fought. They fought with each other. Even the blood was shed. Why? And this is not for nothing. These are serious matters and they are related to our practical life. And I took it as an opportunity and deviated it. And I don't think it was a waste. But as far as our subject is concerned, yes, it is going very far into details, not necessarily away from it, but very detailed. It is if you like, it needs a special treatment, but we hear that some people did that, some ideas are like this, and we oversimplify it and saying that some ideologies or religious traditions are right or wrong, and make it a simple way, which is not true.
This is just a very fine point that I'm a little confused about. So we said in this conversation that God's power must prevail on earth in any case. Theoretically, if there was a system that was Quranic in its way of judging. So theoretically, if there was and there isn't a system or a society that was Quranic or running their system of judgment according to the Quran, then I can expect and have an expectation of God that his power will prevail on earth in that system.
As far as my relationship is concerned.
Horizontally.
Yeah.
So I can have that expectation that God's power will prevail which is an expectation of God. I'm just saying, because we started off the conversation
I think there is a problem of language here, expectation. No, you should prefer for God's justice, God's power to prevail on earth. Two ways are wrong, would be wrong. I am going to establish it myself. I am going to establish justice myself is wrong. No, I will just ignore it. It's not very important. I can just forgive and forget about it is wrong too. That's the main point. Very, very complicated theoretical discussions boils down to this. You cannot ignore it. You cannot conflict yourself. Very simple. So people, of course, didn't see it that simple. And in practical life, it is not easy to see it that simple. What they did, we have to establish God's justice on earth. And they become self-appointed judges. And there's a point that I am going to represent God's justice by myself. Do you see what is happening in the world now?
Well, I'm
Do
sorry.
you see that? Do you see that?
But how?
Be careful.
If
Be careful. Did you understand this? Give me the example.
I understand.
Practical.
I understand that is wrong, but since there's no judge to go to who can uphold God's law, and and here's the question, because there's a lot of, this is very practical, because there's a lot of people.
There is no judge. Why there is no judge?
So if there is no system that is.
No. Why there is no system?
because people aren't using
People are not ready. People are not ready. So why, when there was no judge, when there was no system, what the prophets, all prophets, did? Why? You know what prophet did when he first declared his prophethood. What did he do?
Prepare the people or educate people.
Sorry?
I don't know.
He established the foundations of worldview, a new worldview, prepare the people to be the worshippers of God, acknowledge who God is, what the reality of this creation is. You get it? 17 years, maybe 18 years. The mission of the prophet was to introduce the reality of this world to human nature. This world is transient. You are here for a special purpose. And when the people are ready to establish the system, they did it. Because the people were ready and the atmosphere was mature, they established it.
The judicial system.
There's one thing though that I don't agree with the terminology that was being used, in that, we have to establish God's power or justice on earth. I think
No, we
that
didn't
is-
say that.
no, it was said repeatedly.
Establish?
That we have to establish it, or not me myself, but the judge or whoever.
About the confusion. Me is different from judge.
No, I disagree to both, actually. I mean, from what I understood, our conversations throughout the last period is that is going to happen regardless of me or the judge, or it's just the nature of how God created this universe, and that His justice is always going to be there. It's not going to be. It doesn't require someone to uphold it.
It is a
We're talking
confusion.
about
As
judicial.
far as it means we are not really, I'm not making it clear. In our discussions, maybe 20 times, maybe 50 times, we emphasized on the importance of making the difference between the creation and human responsibility. In creation, everything belongs to God. Human beings have no share in it, and everything in creation is nothing but the manifestations of God's will. But in our social relationship, where the affairs are left to human free will, then it is my responsibility now to take care of what am I going to choose, not create. What am I going to choose? The terminologies are very important.
Right, and what I'm saying is that regardless of what I choose, still God's justice will prevail.
How? In creation. This is not my responsibility.
So say, for example, right now, we were saying that there is no Islamic or Quranic society where true justice prevails. Regardless of whether or not I want it to happen.
Well,
Because then the nature of how human beings are, you're going to try so many different things. You're going to come to a point in where they realize that they have no real justice, they have no real security.
we are repeating ourselves. In creation, justice prevails, but not in the field that my free will is concerned. So, in creation, for example, if I deny God, still God's justice prevails. How? By creating the earth in me.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that my relationship with you is also taken care of by God, and I am not going to look for justice. I'm not going to seek justice in my free will, through my free will. So
Right, but that's sort of what I meant, that
No,
hurt
but-
that you're going to experience is that justice that you're going to.
no, what I have to do, for example, if you steal my property, what am I going to do? Now, in creation, justice is there, but as far as my choice is concerned, I have one option, true option. There are two extreme options, and one is mustaqim. It means really wasat way. Two extreme options. I need to explain this again. One is saying that I cannot do anything. So this is the decree of God. Let it be so. Allah will take care of it. God will take care of it. What does it mean? I'm not going to seek justice. That is wrong. Another extreme says, among the believers, another extreme says, I am going to establish myself. So I am the representative of God's justice. I am going to apply it. Self-appointed just. Egoistic, self-appointed just. And he will try to establish the justice by his own will, which is I am the one self-appointed person to represent God on earth. Do you remember some political activities going on now? Self-appointed justice. I'm going to establish Sharia. Me. I am going to apply it. Me. I am the authority. The other one says, no, I am the authority. No, I am the authority. You see the chaos? Why? Because we go from one extreme to another extreme. So we have to look for the means of realizing God's authority, God's power, prevailing on earth through my free choice. How? Look at the prophet. What did he do? There was no body, no system which allowed God's authority to prevail in social contracts. What did he do? Did he assign himself as the self-judge, self-appointed judge? I said, I'm just a warner. I'm just a reminder. Why are we here? Think about it. Aren't we all equal? Especially. The most effective reality that the prophet introduced to mankind. Aren't we all equal? Why some of us feel superior over the others? Why some of us are slaves, whereas the others are masters? Aren't we all born from the same father and mother? Aren't we originally coming from one sperm? How many times the Quran reminds? Who were you? Who were you? These are the first revealed verses of the Quran. What was he doing? Was he appointing himself as a self-appointed judge, or just reminding the reality of our creation. It is not a simple thing. We have to pay very, very careful attention to it. For example, let's say if you want to make yourself as a good worshiper of God, how are you going to start? By praying a lot, fasting, doing some charitable activities? No. What are you going to do?
Educate yourself.
Think of yourself how you came into existence and the nature of this universe. Is it a constant being? The universe is a constant being, or is it a transient being? What is the significance of being transient? Why the Quran keeps reminding the first revelations, early revelations, reminding human beings that everything will be destroyed, everything will be upside down, nothing is permanent in this world. Why? If we are not going to pay attention to this, we cannot educate ourselves. What we do without establishing the foundations, we just start confirming our cultural religion over and over again without any convincing base. So if we pray 5 times a day, we make it 6, 7, without going back to the very source of it. For example, if you have a sincere friend, he said, you know, this Islam seems to be somehow attractive to me. Can you please teach me? Yeah, I can teach Islam. Okay. What is Islam? First, you have to take a ghusl. Yeah, ablution. Is it the way the Quran teaches? You have to pray 5 times a day and come to our mosque. The other mosques have deviated our mosques. And come to our Jama'ah and pray. And be a fellow of our Jama'ah, our group. That's what we do. But we don't notice that how the Quran teaches. What is expected to do? For example, you want to help your friend. What are you going to do? Okay, come, let's have breakfast together. Come. Have you ever thought you're a baby one day? Huh? That, oh yeah, theoretically, rationally, everybody knows that they were a baby one day. Have you ever thought that even you were born, you were just a sperm, but just a cell and egg? How come that you grow? Come on, think about it. How it was possible? Think about it. That is the way Quran teaches. Why? Because of lots of confusions are coming from this lack of fundamentals. We love to take our being Muslims for granted. We love to take it for granted. We are Muslims. Now what am I going to do? Okay. So we cannot come back to the main point. We have, so sorry. So, but this is practical matters, yeah.
I'm gonna ask another question. So I have a personal relationship with this book that claims to be guidance to me individually on how to guide me to live my practical life in a way that is best, how to fulfill my purpose of existence through this book. So there's this book introducing itself to me, the Quran, that says I'm going to guide you on how to best be in this world. So in this book, there's a small percentage of it. So there's a huge percent of it on the foundation, which always needs to be reminded. Okay, but there's also a small percentage of it that is practical rules speaking to me. Again, they're speaking to me about how to establish justice. Again, this is a book that's speaking to me individually, not a judge, but me individually, on how I should take care of inheritance, my rights as a daughter, as a wife, as a whatever. So I'm just confused with that point of we cannot be the judge. So for example, if somebody passes away in my family and I have this book that tells me how the breakdown is supposed to go down, and if I don't have somebody that I can go to because I go to a sheikh who says, no, we're not going to do it that way. We're going to do it our own way.
There is an absolutely mess up everything in this presentation. Everything is messed up. First, theory is mixed up with practice. And the practice is mixed up, Islamic practice is mixed up with your present day society and life. There is no answer to this. Everything is mixed up. You have to stay at one level. Are we talking about theory or not?
It's the way our life is.
But life is not
Sorry?
like that.
Life isn't like that. I mean, in our class, we can stay on level, but you have to apply it.
We have to start. We have to start. You cannot argue about everything by not going stage by stage. First, we have to understand theoretical base first. It looks very practical. Give me the answer. There is no such answer. Because we have to establish the theory first. And then in practical terms, in theoretically correct institution. And then this, this understanding will prepare you to come to the application of your practical life. In this setting, there are other rules how to do that in a setting where there is no judge acting in the name of God, institution. There is no institution. So within this institution, which is not based on God's desire, God's will, then there are other types of suggestions that the Quran teaches you to do something else. So you cannot mix up everything and get one answer. Foundations must be established. So that's why your question mixes up everything. You start from the Quran, go into establishing the judgment on earth, justice on earth, and then coming to your practical life in American setting. What am I going to do here? Oh God, there is no answer to this. Because which one shall I answer? Which one is to be answered?
So can I just ask one question? The part of the Quran that speaks about laws or judging, basically how to judge, right? The part of it that's dedicated to, that's speaking to me, this is where I'm getting confused, because the Quran is speaking to me about inheritance, about marriage rights, about how to do things that I need to do in my life that will come up.
You just stop it. When you come to this point, have you completed in your life the previous teachings of the Quran? Are you ready to that level? Don't speak. You are not ready.
So the practical things then, you do them without referencing the Quran?
No.
You can't do them until you get to a certain level of
First of
understanding?
all, no, it is also a practical question.
I don't know.
Now, first of all, you have to be aware that without accomplishing within yourself the previous teachings of the Quran, you cannot know exactly what to do as far as the practical side of this 1%, 2% of the Quran, which says, when your father dies, your inheritance, you will say, I'm not ready there yet, so I have to imitate these rules without knowing what. Let me say what they say, I will do it, but I wouldn't be aware of why I am doing what I am doing, because I'm not prepared then. The problem is we ignore the 97% of the teachings of the Quran, waiting for me to be educated through and pay attention to one thing. My father or mother will die, and they will inherit some property to me, and what am I going to do now? Do it whatever you want to hand. You are not prepared to apply it as a person who is ready to apply it. So you follow one of the sheikhs in your mosque. Let him do what. Don't give much attention to it because it's not important in and of itself.
So without the foundation, there's no value in following those literal rules then?
Because it means you will do it as a result of claims. It means I am a Muslim, and of course, when I say I am a Muslim, I take it for granted that I have completed my 90% of teachings. This is just it. So why bother? It doesn't mean that you shouldn't bother about it, but you shouldn't lose yourself in it. Just do it in an imitative way. Because even at the end, if you are not expert on jurisprudential matters, you will do it by following the ijtihad, the decree of the scholars anyway. Your personal matter should not be neglected, which is the teachings of the Quran. The others are not really very much important because they gain their value through your education in the foundations. Because of this very practical concern that the Quranic teaching fundamentally has been neglected. Don't you see? How many people teach you from the very beginning that, oh man, your first concern must be to think how you are growing, how you are coming into existence in this world. And then the second concern is the reality of this universe, how shakeable it is, how transient it is in its nature. Nothing is stable in this world. What are you going to do to gain the things from this world since they are not stable? Why are you crazy about getting something, obtaining something of this world? Why are you crazy? Are you crazy about getting a job? And you are crazy about having a social security until you work and pay until the age of 65. And then you retire, and then all you paid will go to the hospital until you die. Is it worth living life like this? Which kind of life is it? Think about it. That was the prophetic mission. Calling people, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Why do you think Islam prevailed? The Prophet was successful because he was calling people to think about their origin. Aren't we equal in our birth? Why do we learn later on claim some people superior over others? Why? We were born, we are coming from the same cell. Some people say that I am Lord by birth. The other people say that I am a slave by birth. Why? Slaves have to give birth to slave people. Why? So the first message of the Quran asks people to think about their own origin of existence and see that everybody is equal. From there, Islam demolished slavery. And that is it. That's it. That is the reason we can talk about this demolishing slavery in another session, which is worth it. That is what Islam is all about. Slavery is finished. No one is superior over another one. Think about it. When you realize this yourself, when you realize that sincerely, I have no right to be superior over anyone, that's the beginning of Islam. Not when you take a bath and pray, the beginning of Islam, no. It was years later. It was stages later. That is the spirit of Islam to spread in the world. Everybody is equal. Inshallah. So these are, for example, do you want to pay attention to apply Islam? Apply it by reflecting your origin of existence and see what you are doing in this world. Okay? What are your main concerns in this world? Concerns, what are they in this world? What are you looking for in this world? Yeah, to get your degree, doctorate degree, and put it on the wall? What are you going to do with it? You have to defend it. If you put it on the wall, you have to defend it. And be careful. When you put your doctorate degree on the wall, you have to defend it because you are owning it. When you own it, you own the education system. Yeah? You defend the education system, already existing education system. You have to defend it. When you defend the education system, you have to defend the administrative system which prepares the education system, and you become, without realizing, state worshiper. What are you going to do with your property, inheritance property, inherited property, and say that I am going to practice Sharia? You are already slave, state worshiper, secular state worshiper. What are you doing? What are you talking about? Islamic inheritance law. Don't be ridiculous. It is not that simple. I'm very pleased to go into these practical matters. These are the practical matters that we have to be aware of. Not that, my parents died and what shall I do now? There is no judge. These are not only secondary, the third stage, these are the 1,000th stage of your concern, if you are aware of it. Fundamentals are missing. What are you going to do with it? Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilaha illa anta,